on, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Talk Live. This is episode 2. It's Saturday night, June 3rd, 2023. If you're watching this live, you're live with us right now. If you're watching us on replay, hashtag replay crew. How is everybody doing? Wow, what a fantastic show that we had last night. The video we posted last night has over 22,000 views, I believe, at the moment, and brought in 500 new subscribers. So I want to welcome everybody over here to Let's Talk Live. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Brian. I went by the channel of the Opinionated Idiot, but now we are reaching and trying to reach higher grounds. That's why the channel name has changed. It's an old channel name I had. I have recently just brought it back, and I'm super stoked. And I have a fantastic show planned for this evening. What I thought was, I've had these great offline conversations with a few of my mods. We get together like once a week and we just kind of go over things that are happening in the Idaho case, maybe discussing new documents, things that we might have missed. I said, why don't we just do a live show and bring you guys on the panel and just have a fun hangout and throw around some of the ideas that we have through all of this. But who I want to bring in first has been my co-host, my sidekick, always here on the Idaho shows, Laura, Agent Chase. How are you?
I'm doing great this evening.
Are you ready for this show?
I am really excited for this show. I've been looking forward to it all day since last night when we got off and we started planning this show. So let's roll.
I think it's going to be cool. I want to welcome everybody in the chat, by the way, tons of new members, tons of subscribers, moderators. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I want to set a groundwork, I guess. What you're going to get here from Let's Talk Live is we use legal documents to base our theories, opinions, and put out information through our investigations. We use the legal documents. You're not going to get conspiracy theories here. You're not going to get bullshit. We don't trash the families. We don't trash the victims. So if that's the kind of content you're looking for here, probably not going to get it. So I just have to be honest, because we honor everybody in this. We honor the victims. We honor the families. And, I talked about on last night's stream, I don't understand, and maybe Laura can attest to this, I don't understand how the families and the victims become the bad guys in all of this. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I feel for the families. I feel for the victims, the survivors, and everybody that knew the 4 that were taken from us.
Sure. So do you want to bring on our panel guests?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We're going to add 2 more people to the panel. Chosen Rosen's going to join us, and AZ as well. They're 2 of my moderators, and we have kind of, like I said, we have these kind of spontaneous conversation. And I said, let's just do this live sometime. It'd be great to have a full panel of people and kind of hang out. So welcome to the show, gentlemen. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up, everybody? Everybody in the chat. Laura, good to see you.
Hi,
Brian.
Chosen. Yes, good to see you.
Hey, now. How are we doing?
Hi,
I always say AZ has like the voice of wisdom. He sounds kind of like God when he speaks. I love it.
Unfortunately, not when I talk to myself, which is all the time.
But you have kind of that like timbre in your voice, like, hello, people. It's
a put on. It's a total put on.
I don't think so. But anyway, let's get into Idaho here. Everybody sits here and hears my perspective on it. Everybody here hears kind of Laura's perspective. And what I wanted to start out this evening is we'll do maybe some roundtable. I'll start with Laura, go to Chosen, and then end with AZ. But the first thing that I kind of wanted to get to on this panel this evening is we've heard, a lot of the YouTube channels. You've heard a lot of, where my stance is on this case. We read the comments, but I wanted to know, what are your current thoughts on where we are right now in this investigation? Maybe thoughts, opinions, maybe some things that you would like to be discovered, when this goes to trial. And I'm going to start that question with Laura. So Laura, let me know where you are right now, where you kind of stand in this.
I'm getting an echo. Are you getting an echo?
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm just double checking all my settings. I'm on a new computer tonight, so that's really loud. Sorry, everyone, till I get this figured out.
No, you're good.
Okay, so I'm just excited and anxious to see all of the evidence that they have to present the prosecution, as well as the discovery that the defense has. I'd like to hear both sides of the story. I'd like to hear the prosecution take us from the start of everything, and then also all the way through to where we are and how they came about this suspect.
Hmm. You know, and that's the thing I always want to say this too, because I think we get a lot of shit sometimes in the comments about, oh, well, you lean that Kohberger is guilty and this. And I've been very open about that. I think that the evidence in this case is very strong. I think it's very strong against Kohberger. That's my opinion. It's the way I feel. But I've always said this as well. Brian Kohberger right now is innocent until proven guilty. And we've always said that on every live that we have. We honor the justice system. He's due his due process, and to go through this if he has a trial and face of jury of his peers and let them decide, and ultimately in the end when we hear both sides of the case. So I just kind of wanted to get that on the record as well too. Let me go to Chosen. Same question to you. Kind of like, where do you stand in this? What do you think about it? And what are some of the things that you'd like to know at this point?
Yeah, sure. So this whole case is crazy. It's just been insane. First you have all the information given to us in the PCA that's written in great detail. And in my opinion, it was written very thoroughly. The only facts that we know right now are that 4 young, beautiful kids lost their lives for no reason in a very brutal way. Also, that there is a man sitting in Leetah County Jail right now who's been indicted on a burglary charge and four first-degree murder charges. And those are the absolute facts that we know of at the moment. Other than that, it's pretty much a lot of speculation until it's proven in a court of law. But
Yeah, I think that, what we know is right now, and I think everybody on this panel can probably, feels the same way. I think there's still a lot of evidence that's going to come out in this case. And who knows, maybe it's in the defense of Brian Kohberger to say, hey, he wasn't even in the area. He wasn't even there, and he can provide receipts to show that he wasn't there, and his legal team can prove that. Or there's going to be a lot more evidence against him that really backs him up against the wall and may put him in an area where it's really tough to explain that. So AZ, I'm going to go to you. Where do you, I'll ask you the same question. Where you currently, stand in this case, some thoughts, opinions, and maybe some things that you'd like to hear so far?
Well, my sense is that they have the right guy, but I look forward to hearing what the defense has to say. I'm curious, will they have an actual defense? Will they have, some kind of alibi, meaning, not just possibly somebody that can say he was with me, but just any evidence that he was anywhere else other than at that house? Or will their tactic just be to try to poke holes in the prosecution?
Right.
And so I'm curious about that. So, like I said, I sense that they have the right guy, but I have not convicted him yet.
Of course. And no one should. And no one should really convict anybody else of this. We hear a lot of conspiracies out there. We hear a lot of names thrown out. We hear, a lot of awful things that are said about these, the 4 individuals that lost their lives in the house that night, how they're dealing drugs and they're wrapped up in a cartel. And I say this, if that's your stance, show me something. Show me some evidence, because all I hear about that surrounds all of this stuff is hearsay. I don't see a legal document to connect any of these individuals that they would be involved in any type of crime other than the murder that was, that was performed on them. I don't see it. And that's why I say, provide me with something, You're not showing me anything. You're not showing me a receipt. And I'm all about receipts, believe me. I'm all about receipts. So, yeah, next thing I wanted to kind of go to was at this point, what you know, and I'll start with Laura. We'll go that way, and I'll mix it up a little bit too. But we'll start with Laura. What do you think the connection between Koberger and the individuals in King? What is the connection to Koberger and King Road in your opinion?
In my opinion, I believe that Brian Koberger, the reason that they have him in custody is because they have found a connection between him and one of the 2 third-floor roommates. My gut and some of the evidence I've found leads me to believe it's Kaylee that was the target, just because of her current romantic situation where she had broken up with her boyfriend. However, I think the connection was through social media, whether or not it started on Tinder, whether or not it started on Instagram or Snapchat and moved to another one or another app. But I believe it all was from social media at some point connecting to them. And that is how he found them.
I'm going to go to Chosen now. How do you, where do you think the connection is between Koberger and these, alleged connection between Koberger and these individuals in the house?
Yeah, I mean, just what Laura just said. That's exactly pretty much what I was going to say. I always suspected it to be Kaylee, pretty much the whole time, just because it fits the narrative that I have in my mind that both Kaylee and BK were both single at the time of the killings. Kaylee had just broken up with Jack D, and they both had their own Tinder account profiles. I suspect BK was attempting to interact with her on Tinder or social media, whether that be Instagram or TikTok or something like that. We just don't know that for a fact yet. And just the way that I would speculate it would be that, BK just got rejected and ignored by Kaylee, and that's the catalyst for why he did what he did. I think he just snapped and, got his feelings hurt.
So Soulshine's saying he knew she was home, Kaylee, so he had one chance. Question, she's asked a question. So probably wasn't expecting Matta, Zanny, and Ethan to get in the way, possibly. I think that's kind of the way that we feel as well, too. We've discussed this in many of our, Laura and I, and even my mods, when they kind of tune in, we've kind of discussed all that. I'd suggest, go back and watch some of our streams because we've had some really great live streams. And, I think we kind of feel the same way about that as well, too.
But to go off, what Soulshine is saying, I think I interpret what she's saying is Kaylee being home at her parents' house versus Moscow.
Sure. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I guess for it to make sense in the narrative that I just explained would be that day they took that photo of Kaylee being at the house with Ethan, Santa,
right,
and Maddie.
Right.
The photo that they just took outside of that house for that last day. So if he did stalk them on it, Instagram or social media, that's how they know. That's how he knows that she's there. And he just took that opportunity.
Yeah, it's Mike C says, I think he planned on killing both Maddie and Zayla for sure. Kaylee for sure. Sorry about that. AZ, same question to you. What do you feel like is the connection to alleged connection between Koberger and the individuals at King Road?
That's one of the $1 million questions, right?
Yeah.
And there's a few of them. I don't know how Kaylee or any of them would have come on his radar if in fact he is the guy. But I do think it's reasonable. It makes sense to me for him to have been following them on social media. All of that makes sense. So, like we were looking at the running, possible running areas over there yesterday, Brian. Could it have been just something simple like just seeing them in passing? Was he that type that would just, or whoever the perpetrator was, were they the type that would maybe see somebody running or walking and then just sort of find out where they live? I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah. What was the street we traced? Was it Walenta or Taylor?
Well, Taylor turns into Walenta as it goes up
Walenta.
that hill, I believe.
It goes up that hill, and it was interesting. We followed it on Google Maps, and it looks like it would be a great running hill. And then we came across there's actually a path with stairs that if you wanted to run stairs or whatever, you could do that right there as well. And what we discovered was on that road, the vantage point to look over into the house, you would see all the activity that goes on in that yard and in and around that neighborhood behind that little spot that we found. So yeah, I mean, it is a possibility. He could have come across them, running in that area. We found out that there were runners clubs in and around that area. So, we know that he was that they're pulling warrants for that Strava app right now. Strava, I'm sorry, the Strava app. So, and we know that he used it and he posted on it. We saw that one post. We actually traced around the area of the streets that were kind of connected in and around that. So, I mean, it's quite a huge possibility that could be it as well. So, it's strange that I think the theories, our theories change a little bit every time there's new documents that get dumped and we look at what they're looking for and, those search warrants are for. But I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Sure. I looked for a few minutes after you got off there. Yeah. And I noticed that. So if someone was to run up Walenta and down those stairs that we noticed, that's a long set of stairs, by the way. Mm-hmm. You could kind of meander through that neighborhood and link up into the Arboretum that's over there, just west of the neighborhood, and run all the way. There's a nice parking area up. I mean, it would be a great place to run, And yep. People who run, people I know that run, they don't just like running around their block. They like running in nice areas. So I'll bet there's a lot of people that do run in that area is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And you could link it right up around into the neighborhood. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. And again, we just don't know. That's the $1 million question. I think everybody's answer. I mean, I sit and ask myself all the time, like, what is this connection? I think I have a pretty good idea of what's going on by reading, the documents, the evidence that we've seen so far. But again, it's just, that's the question that everybody wants. Let's go to this one. This has been kind of another big $1 million question too, is the motive. We haven't really discovered any type of motive. We probably won't until trial. I'll start off, a little bit different. Maybe I'll go to Chosen first. What do you think the motive would be in this case?
It's a good question. I think that he just didn't deal with the rejection too well. Going back to the Tinder theory, mm-hmm. if that's one avenue that he pursued and got shut down by her, took it personally, and I think he just snapped, and he's just tired of being rejected, and he just felt the need to be in control and shows dominance and his power. And that's what he did. He went back to the house and, did what he did, allegedly. So,
sure.
This is a man that talks about himself saying that he has no self-worth. And if you get rejected time and time again, I mean, that has to do something to, your mental status. It's not something to deal with easily. So I don't think he had, an outlet to, take care of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go to AZ this time. AZ, same question. What do you feel like the motive is?
I felt for quite a while that the motive was just a simple essay. Mm. And I'm not even convinced that I'm not convinced that he planned on using that knife at all, other than to maintain control of any given situation that he might run into in that house.
Sure.
It's just a sense that I have. Go ahead. That's it. Yeah.
Again, this is all, what we're saying here. We're not experts. We're not law enforcement. We're not FBI agents. We're just a couple people on a panel giving our opinions, our alleged opinions and all of this. If you're just coming into the chat here, we really would appreciate it. We got about 257 people watching. If you can smash that like button, that would really help the stream out. Get us over to 100 likes. That helps push this out into the algorithm, and it helps continue to grow this channel. So just give it a second, smash that like button. We would appreciate it. And I'll go to Laura here in a second. So Laura, what do you think right now, in your opinion?
Smash.
My delayed smash.
I believe the motive was rejection. I believe he was scorned through the either the direct rejection from one of the girls or from one of the indirect rejection by leaving him on red or not opening his messages or something. But I believe it was rejection, scorn. He felt like he had to take matters in his own hands because he felt rejected or wronged by these girls.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's very it is. I mean, that's the one thing that I go through when I read through all these documents, all these streams that we go through. We hear reports. It's like, what could have been the motive in all this. And I think I feel a lot in line with Laura's opinion on this, that it's just kind of that scorned fear, that rejection, just pissed off that he's been rejected and I'm going to get you type of thing. So
at the end of the day, we don't know him. We don't know him personally. We absolutely do not know this man. We know nothing about him. I don't think that.
So Alexander's saying, in my opinion, all right, so do we want to talk about the drug house theory and where we think a lot of this crap might have started? I think there's a lot of, in my opinion, I think there's a lot of YouTube channels putting a lot of false theories out there about drug houses. I would think, and I think any single rational person, that this investigation now has gone on, just over 5 months, almost close to 6 months. Why hasn't anybody arrested that's been involved in this big cartel?
Exactly.
Where are all these people? You have the FBI involved. You have Moscow involved. I'm sure there's other resources. Wasn't there something that was said, and I may be wrong on this, they put $1 million into the investigation in this? I could be wrong on that, but I think I read that somewhere. So you have all of these resources, and I'm still waiting for the cartel to be arrested. It's not Koberger. There's 5 other people involved. Where are these 5 people? Why haven't they been arrested? Where's the cartel connections? Where's the cocaine connections? I don't know. I don't see it. And then I ask people like, well, where's the legal documents that you have that would tie all these people together, the arrest warrants, whatever? And they can't produce anything. So I think there's a lot of falsehood out there. I think there's a lot of wrong things put out there. And, we've just really stuck to the facts here, the facts of what we know so far. So were you gonna say something, Chosen?
Yeah, I mean, just the whole rumor mill has gotten out of control. Just a lot of, BS that has just been made up for clicks and views and monetary gain. And that's all it is. That's all it is. There's just so many people in this world that are money hungry and greedy, and that they will say anything just to get someone to watch your channel.
And I'll even say this. I'll even say this in the defense of the accused. I've heard a lot of shit about him that's probably not true.
100% agree. 100%.
We don't know. And again, like we said, he is innocent until proven guilty. He's just the alleged person in this. And again, we don't know the full details, but we will find out.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want an innocent man to go to jail for something, he didn't do. We
100%.
all deserve our day in court, in the court. We have to let the American justice system go through its due process, because that is what each and every American citizen's right, when living in this country. Can we respectfully share our theories and speculate what took place that night? Sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just a speculation, and, one thing for certain is that, the responsible party for this crime and whoever committed this crime has to be charged, convicted, and brought to justice. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think this is going to be a good segue into my next question, and kind of just want to throw this out there. And if you guys want to pick on this one, Laura and I did a really great stream last night. If you guys didn't see it, you can go back and watch that. It was actually my first official episode of coming back as Let's Talk Live. But we had talked about the fantastic interview that Chronicles of Olivia did with the Gonzalez family. And, it was a really amazing, just brilliantly beautiful 45 minutes that she got to spend with the family, and got really a background into, who Kaylee is and was, and really got a sense of the Gonzalez family and how their family unit works. And I think personally, and I'm going to put the question out there, do you think that the Gonzalez family knows more than what's being reported? Personally, I do. What we found out in the interview is that Christy's phone essentially mirrored Kaylee's phone. So they knew everything that was going on in her phone. They could pull up that data. I think Steve, Steve always says, I'm an IT guy. And I think having that background, knowing that, and probably saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, because if anything was to ever happen to you all, I could find you, and do kind of that mirroring of their phones. I think personally, and I'm sorry, I'm taking a long way to get to my point, but I do think, and I feel that they do know a lot more what's being told. And then in that recent interview I played he had with Banfield, he went on to say about Dylan and Bethany kind of talking to the family now, and he said, we're getting a better perspective of what happened that night. So that's kind of where I stand. I'll pose this to Laura. She probably feels the same way as she was on the stream with me. But yeah, Laura, what do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I believe that the Gonzalez family knows just about everything that they can know from having access to Kaylee's phone and her records. If they were able to clone her phone, don't forget Steve Gonzalez is an IT guy. Steve knows. Obviously, they had access to all of her apps, her text messages, her phone, her everything, her photos, you name it. They had to have known what was going on, and leading up to this.
Yeah.
So they know a lot more. And I believe their interview with Chronicles of Olivia, which was one of the most fabulous interviews I've seen done with the victim's family, including mainstream media. I think she did a wonderful job, and really telling the story and also respecting the family and the victims so well. I think that they were holding back a lot. And I hope they get the opportunity to speak about everything once all this comes out.
Yeah, I like the fact that they talked about the way it was amazing how Steve, here's another clue that I think they know a lot more. Steve said he found Chronicles of Olivia through TikTok because Kaylee followed her, so they had access to Kaylee's phone. And they found her and actually started to speak with her, and kind of built that trust to allow her to come in and kind of document the family and talk and have a sit down interview with them. I'll go to Chosen. What do you think? Do you think that the Gonzalez family knows a lot more than what they're saying about what happened that night?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt, in my mind. They know a lot. They know a lot. Just go through her phone, text messages, the apps, this and that, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Chronicles of Olivia did the best job I've ever seen. Respecting the family, and getting that information out there, and it was very well done.
It was
very
really great. AZ, what do you think?
Well, I'm not sure if I've seen any of that interview that you're talking about.
Sure.
I may have, kind of listened to a little bit of it here and there. I'm not sure.
Yep.
There's a lot, you know what I mean? There's so much stuff out there, but if that's true, and also I don't really know about the phone. I haven't dug into that aspect.
Yep.
If that's true that they cloned her phone, which I mean that seems reasonable, with all things considered. Then yeah, obviously they would know a lot. And even putting all that aside, I think they definitely know more than we do.
Yeah.
Law enforcement, I believe they were sharing things in the early stages. So just that alone, they would, know a lot more than the four of us.
Yeah, of course.
so-
And I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Things that we found out as well too is that they had family that actually lived down in that area of King Road. They knew the driver that drove Kaylee and Maddie around, like knew that person personally and trusted them enough to drive Kaylee and Maddie around. So I'm sure that Steve did a lot of vetting just even of that person to say, hey, if you girls ever need to, excuse me, if you girls ever need to go anywhere, this is your ride. This is the person that's going to take you. So I'm sure there was a lot of eyes, in and around that house in the sense of family and neighbors or contacts that knew the family. So Alexandra said, why are people so convinced one person couldn't do this? I can name a lot of murderers who did it alone, Bundy being one. You're so right on that. So right on that.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Okay.
No
That
doubt.
was that Florida case, right? I mean, he actually did. What was there? Was there 3 victims, 4 victims in one sorority house, and there were survivors that didn't hear a thing.
Yeah, I think it was 4 ultimately. I mean, I could be wrong on that. I get things wrong in this case too, because there's so many dates and timelines that get so skewed and mixed up.
Some of these things you don't want to commit to memory,
Right. Exactly. Let's see. Where am I next? All right, here's a good one. Here's the other $1 million question. Do you think that law enforcement has the murder weapon in this case? I'm going to go to AZ first. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they could obviously, but I don't get that sense.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, that's I haven't given that a whole lot of thought. But no, I think he hit it pretty good. I think he hit it on his way. I think he hit it that day, the 13th.
Where?
I think he hit it on his travels that day.
Fair enough.
He spent a lot of time in his car that day.
I would believe so too. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chosen, what do you think?
So I think the murder weapon is probably in Johnson, Idaho. So I was also thinking, if you take the totality of all the evidence that the police gathered and what the inventory of items taken is, there's so many different ways that this could go. I mean, you have a Walmart receipt. What was that Walmart receipt for? Was it for a burner phone? Was it for this? Was it for that? And then if it was for, let's say, a burner phone, police could search for that IMEI number, because that's what they use that number for, is to, find lost and stolen cell phones. So if they were able to track that phone down, I would suspect it to be with, excuse me, all the items that he used that day. So it's possible, they could track that down with all that stuff. But then again, the documents that they wrote, that they took out of the house in Pennsylvania, number 1, it says knife.
I know.
Why out of all items that you could possibly write is just one word, when there's more descriptive knives written as far as Taylor cutlery knives, Smith & Wesson pocket knife, but number one just says knife.
Knife.
So it's just very, very questionable. Is
Yeah.
that the knife? Is that
Right.
the knife? I don't know.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because the first time I read through that document, we were pulling up and doing on stream, and I was like, that was the first thing that popped up. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It was like, I wonder if they actually have them. I mean, listen, the way that I would think about it, if you committed a crime, okay, of that magnitude, and you knew that you were going to drive across country in a couple of weeks, a week or whatever, a couple of weeks, and go back home, why wouldn't you want to take items out of that area and get them as far away as possible from that crime that you may have committed, and to hide them somewhere or bury them somewhere else or whatever, destroy them in some way? That would be my thought on that. If I was the criminal that did that, get them as far away from that scene so there's no trace of it. It just only would make sense. It only would make sense to me. Laura, what do you think? Do you think that they possibly could have the murder weapon at this point? They're just not letting anybody know.
I am going to dissent. I believe that they have the knife. I believe that the knife they found in his parents' residence is the knife. My reason being is that we can't say it wasn't. They weren't specific in the type of the knife they found and they confiscated. I believe he thought he was smarter than everyone, that he wouldn't get caught. I believe he planned it out for a long time. I don't know what he was doing in the times when his phone disappeared in Johnson. However, I believe that he wanted to keep that as a token, as a what's the word I want?
Like a memento?
Yeah, a memento.
Like a trophy.
A trophy. Thank you. I was like hovering around that word.
They did, ironically.
What's that?
Like BTK did, took trophies.
I think the knife was his, and I believe it also was like part of his pride. Like he was proud of his work. Why would he want to give that up? I just see him being too attached to it. I mean, great opportunity to bury them. Absolutely. Absolutely. However, I think in his head, he thought he was too smart and that they wouldn't catch him. Maybe he thought that if he drove around, and maybe he went for a 3-hour run then, and he thought, oh, if they do catch me and they do go and pull all this data, they'll think I buried the knife here because they found a shovel in my, right, just like what we're saying. Like, oh, they'll think I buried it. They'll spend all this time in Johnson, but I'm going to take it home to Pennsylvania. They'll never catch me. And then boom, he had that probably wrapped in, something in his bedroom, and they were like, what is this?
Right.
So I think they have it. I could be wrong. Could be right. I don't know, but that's just what I feel. Sure.
Let me get to this.
Brian, can I throw another couple words at you? So my sense, like I mentioned earlier, his I don't believe his motivation was for things to go the way they went.
Sure.
So that being the case, in my mind, a trophy, he's not interested in trophies. I mean, what Laura's saying makes great sense, and it's perfectly reasonable.
Yep.
But in my mind, I think that things went sideways in that house for him, and he wanted to get rid of it. And I think that we've spoken about this also. Yep. I think that Johnson, Washington is where I would look, not Johnson, Idaho. I believe that was a misprint in the PCA. And Johnson, Washington is on the way back between Albrightsville and Pullman, and that's where I would look for it, somewhere near the cell tower.
Yeah, and I can see your point of view and everything that you've said. I mean, sure, it's plausible. Sure, it is. I just like being able to hear your point of view, which is different from mine, able to take into yours what your opinion is and be like, yeah, I mean, that could have happened. It's not what I think, but Sure, it could have. And,
There's so many possibilities.
that's what I mean. I this is why I enjoy this, because we get to share our opinions and not feel attacked and
For sure.
respect each other's, and also be like, well, and as things come out, we can go back and forth to each other, like, hey, man, you had this right. So
that's why I think I wanted to bring this panel together, because I know that we all don't agree in some areas, and that's what's very good, I think, and stimulating and productive about this, because when you have adults that are on a panel that can talk openly, respect everybody, conversation tends to flow really well. We don't get heated, we don't get mad. It's just silly to do that. But I'm also interested in to think how other people think about this case too, not going off the rails in the sense of like it's cocaine cowboys and all this, the aliens are coming. Shit, there's secret tunnels under the house and the devil's gonna get you. I can't go there. But before we go on to the next question or topic, I do want to recognize this amazing $20 super chat from Sunshine.
Thank you, Soldier.
Thank you, Sunshine.
I believe a new subscriber here on the channel. We want to thank her so much for that. So thank you so much.
Very nice.
It was very, very nice.
I got you, homie.
And thank you. We appreciate that. And I just got another $2 super chat as well. Let's pull that up from Reba. Reba, how are you? Hope you're doing well. We want to thank you for the $2 super chat as well. Thank you so much. And I'm thinking here, you know what? I think it's a good time because we just passed 150 likes. I'm going to give away a membership.
Give
away a membership.
Hey, Reba.
What's that?
Hey, Reba.
Oh, Reba.
Oh,
Hey, Reba.
we're going to give a membership away. A member. We're going to get a new member.
I just love that name, Reba.
Yeah.
I just love it.
The new member is...
It is a very friendly name, right?
Yeah, and I picture a redhead, and I believe she is a redhead.
I
So
also picture that
I
too.
think it's great.
It's friendly, but takes no sass.
Right.
That's what it reminds me of.
So Nina has become a new member, member.
Nina.
Like we always say here. Congratulations.
Welcome.
Watch all of the members only streams. We have a section down there. You can watch that. And I'm going to be doing more members only as well. Candy's gifted him a membership as well. And we have a new member. I'm waiting for the chat to come up. Unsolved Cases and News become a new member of the channel. Thank you.
Give him a
So
statement.
much. What's that? Want me to give you a statement?
Come on, man.
He did do one of those the other day. He did fall.
Come on, man.
All right. Okay. So again, what did I miss?
Oh, looks like we have some people really flirting in the chat.
Uh-oh.
Christine
Crystal
Brown.
has given a membership away to 51 terabytes. Thank you so much, Christine. We appreciate you. New member.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's do this. Yeah. Yeah, I see. No, I know. I know. We have a $10 super chat from that's a beautiful name. I'm not gonna read that because I don't want to get
That's no Reba. That's not a Reba type name.
but
It's a whole different category.
Psycho is
Thank you.
loving adulting here, and Agent Chase is an excellent co-host. Thank you so much. We appreciate
Oh.
that. Oh boy.
Yeah.
$2 super.
Psychoc. What was that? Psychoc NT or something? Yeah.
Pamela's given a $2 super sticker as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Pamela, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.
All right. So I want to go on here to let's talk about evidence. Let's talk about a little evidence here. And this is totally hypothetical because we don't know. We don't know. And I'm just throwing this out there. to see what you all would think. If the evidence is too strong and it starts to build, and let's say the evidence is really pointing in the direction that Koberger did do this, allegedly did this, okay, really did do this, and the evidence is strong, very, very strong, and it's like, look, it ain't gonna look like any way you're gonna get out of this. You know, if you face a jury of your peers, you're probably gonna be convicted in an hour. If you think that the evidence is strong enough, do you think, and I'll start with Laura, do you think that he would take a plea, or is he gonna go all the way in the trial?
He's like Tom Brady. He's going all the way. He's going all the way. There's no way. I believe that he's not going to take a plea deal, because then that shows that he doesn't win. He wants to go. I believe that he thinks that taking this all through the trial and him being on TV, him getting all the coverage. I mean, we forget that he studied under Catherine Ramsland, who wrote the book about BTK. So, I mean, BTK is in the forefront of his mind. And maybe he aspires to be an esteemed killer that people talk about for years and years to come. He's not going to take a plea deal, because then it goes away. It's done. And then everybody's just, that would, so I think he's in it for the thrill too. This is a thrill for him. I'm
going to go to AZ on this one. What do you think?
Well, this, it's just like me and Laura's last horrible argument. It all starts with what was his motivation, right? And we have different opinions on what his motivation was from the start. So if he, like I've said, in my mind, things went wrong in that house. Like he didn't intend. I don't feel that he intended for things to go that way. So I don't have that view of him as somebody that wants to take the world, sort of thing. I think he found himself in this situation, and so I can see him taking a plea deal, I think. But ultimately, I have no idea. I don't know the man, and he's a tough one to figure out. Right?
No, it's very fair. That's super, super fair.
I think with your point of view, AZ, that it definitely, I see where you're going with all of this, and I can't disagree with you. I mean, from your thoughts of the motive and everything, I think you make sense. You make sense to me. I don't agree with it, but you make complete sense to me.
Right. Likewise. It's been that way for, pretty much for a couple of months since we've been talking about it. It's just, we start at we have different starting points, different perspectives. So obviously it's going to be a whole different,
which is amazing and awesome. Plus we get to have these great conversations.
Yeah. See, not all my mods agree on the stance in this case. I have diversity through all of this. And I think that's why you have to keep things balanced. You can't have a panel of mods that completely agree on one side or completely agree in the other. You have to have balance in all of this. I'm going to go to Chosen on this one. Where you stand on this?
So I'm told that I don't make sense 100 times a day. So I feel very good here. And I'm going to stick with that and say that I think the day, he was arrested in Pennsylvania, that he was just very cocky and made the comment that he would be exonerated, and he truly thought that he was smarter than everyone else, and there was no way for police to link him to the crime. But now when we look at it today, 6 months down the road, I think he knows he's in trouble. He knows the evidence that they have against him. He knows his DNA is found at the scene, which I believe he realizes now that he's kind of screwed, in my opinion. So taking a plea at this point to sit in jail for the rest of his life is probably the best option that I see happening in his mind. Not once has he ever spoken or uttered one word for his own innocence, which is shocking to me.
Yeah, and no one that knows him has come out and said
Right.
has stuck it up for his innocence. If anything,
Mhm.
as we saw in the Dateline episode, the most recent one, that his sister actually thought that he may be involved in this.
Mhm.
And again, that's told through a source, so it could be speculation. But we've heard a lot of that in the media as well, too. You know,
I mean,
and this is where I say too, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Chosen. This is where I say too, is that you have this balance of totality of evidence that's coming from the prosecution. I've only seen 2 exhibits entered for the defense. Am I right on that, Laura? Or am I wrong?
They're up to 3 now, I believe.
Okay, so
3 request. Yeah, I believe there's 3.
Sure. I'm
2
sorry,
or
Chosen. You want to
2
finish?
or 3
no,
though.
no,
It
it's
doesn't
all,
matter.
no, it's all good. I mean, you could just tell how Ann Taylor is just taking the lead on this because she knows that she has to do something at this point. And, you know, I think we talked about this of your idea saying that is Kohlberger telling Ann Taylor what to do and is he running the show? Or
Right.
is it vice versa? But obviously, from what I see that Ann Taylor is definitely taking charge and she's doing what she got to do to defend her client.
Yeah, of course.
And,
That's her client. Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I got one more kind of question or topic, and then would you all be open to taking some questions from the chat just before we shut this down? We'll do a little bit longer. So hold your questions for now. What we'll do is when we're ready to take questions, what I want you all to do in the chat is type a Q and then put your question after that. So we know it's a question. I'll pull it up, and then maybe we can munch on some of those and give us, some answers or opinions to some things that you might all want answered to see how we stand here on the panel. Would you guys all be open to that?
Yeah,
Sure.
100%.
Absolutely.
Bring on the questions.
Okay, so hang on. One more. We're just getting this question and topic. So and this has been kind of the big speculation, in all of this, is that Kohlberger is not the guy. And this is where I kind of pose this question. Let's think on the opposite side. I think pretty much here, everybody thinks they have the right guy in custody. But if you didn't think it was Kohlberger, who do you think would be involved in this? And I know that's kind of probably throw a lot of things off because we've heard cartels and this and that and blah, 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 blah. But let's go there for a minute and let's hear. I'm going to start with Laura on this one.
I'm going to have to say it was somebody in their circle, somebody that, I mean, if it's not Kohlberger, we have to re-examine who the target was. At that point, then it becomes which one was the intended victim. Obviously, if it was Ethan, it would be a totally different situation. He interacted with a lot of different people. He was in a fraternity. The other 3 girls, they were also involved in Greek life as well as Bethany. I cannot confirm that Dylan Mortensen was involved with Greek life either. I would have to say it was somebody acting out of jealousy that was in their circle, that one of the girls did wrong, whether it was a man that felt rejected. Because, I mean, if you boil it down, a lot of murders happen because of sex or money.
Yep. Right.
I don't think money was the motive. Nothing was taken from the house. I mean, I don't think drugs were involved with this. Do I think they I mean, regardless if they partied or anything, like that has nothing to do with this. Yeah. I think it was some type of a sexual motivation or jealousy.
Sure.
And if it's not Brian Kohlberger, I would entertain females even as somebody who could have committed this, because the 4 victims were all at different stages of intoxication from that, evening of going out and partying. We can assume that. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't discount it being a female even. So somebody in their close circle. I don't think it was random. I think it would have been out of jealousy or some type of a rejection, sexual rejection
Sure.
motive.
Sure, absolutely. I'll go to Chosen on this one, and then we'll end with AZ.
Yeah, I mean, the only person I could really think that could have done this would be like a feral Sasquatch on the loose. No, but nah, I'm sorry, but
Come on, man.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's such a tragic event that I just don't know. We just don't know. We don't have all the information yet to really know for sure.
AZ, any thoughts?
Well, so I think whoever did this, I think they were spying from that hill behind the house. I think that's where I think there was a lot of that going on. And so, obviously I mentioned the motivation, what I believe the motivation was. So it could have been anyone. You know what I mean? Like the only reason I believe it's Koberger is because he's the guy that they have evidence of allegedly showing up behind the house in the white car. I think whoever pulled in with that white car is most likely the guy. And I think that they were spying on the girls, probably following them on social media, stalking them.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be somebody equally as unknown as Koberger. Just a completely unknown person that somehow they somehow noticed these young people.
You say Chosen?
Sure. I would say just having his DNA at the scene is extremely hard to just not acknowledge.
I agree.
I mean, who else's DNA is there? I don't know. We don't know yet. But as far as we know right now, there's only one. Only one. And we do know that he was in the area the night of the murders with his supposedly the white Hyundai. That's supposedly him. And we know his cell phone pinged 12 times in the area. We know he turned his cell phone off between 2:47 and 4:48 a.m. that day, that night.
Mm-hmm.
And, in my opinion, that's an attempt to conceal his location during the time while he did his thing. And, we also got to look at his behavior patterns at WSU, insubordination issues, being confrontational with his colleagues and professors. That, the list goes on and on, it seems like.
Right.
And there has been, that I've seen screenshots of BK following Maddie and Kaylee on Instagram, which could support the stalking theory.
Right.
But until we see everything, when the trial comes, we could definitely make a better or get a clearer picture of what's going on.
I completely agree.
Do you want to go back to that chat, Brian?
Yeah, hang on one second. Just I don't want to forget this question because we'll start in a minute. Let me find it. It's a Legally Blind. So Elliot was asking, "Hey panelists, I'm legally blind and I can't read your name. Sorry about that. But can you list a female serial killer in history who's killed 4 people via stabbing?" Hang on one second because I'm sure you're going to answer it. Where I stand on this, I don't think there's anybody else involved. I think they have the right guy. Again, the evidence is really pointing in that direction. But again, we aren't going to know more until we get to trial. So I'll kind of leave it at that. Laura, you probably going to answer this, correct?
Yes. So I know there's a case from across the pond. I believe the woman's name was Joanna Dennehy. I think she stabbed like 3 people. What about Eileen Wernes? I think she killed 6 people. Usually women who kill use something a little less violent, such as poison or even a gun, because a knife is not an easy weapon to yield to cause harm. So But just because we don't have like a list of women that have killed 4 people with a knife in the past doesn't mean that there wouldn't be. Do I think a woman did this? Probably not, but I would entertain it if a woman did.
Mhm.
Sure.
Lizzie Borden.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Lizzie Borden, she killed 2 people with an axe.
Her mother and father.
40 and 41 whacks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I heard she's a real hacker.
Oh, up.
All right.
I need a laugh track, not a cheer track for that. Okay, so let's do this. If you all want us to take some of your questions, just make your question look like this. Type a Q. We'll grab a couple of these before we go off air. It looks like everybody's kind of giving their questions there. But Soulshine asks, and I'll just let you guys chunk in on this, whoever wants to jump in. Do you think BK was in the house those 12 times or just stalking? What if he had been inside? Whoever wants to take this one, go for it.
I don't think he was inside that house. That's just my gut feeling. I think he's been around that house and stalked the house. Drove past it plenty of times prior to that night. But do I actually think that he was inside that house? No. Prior? No.
I agree. I don't believe he was in the house. I think he was stalking, and I believe that he found the layout of the house from the internet
Which anyone could find.
and social media, knowing who's in which bedroom. Wouldn't be hard to find.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, same.
Yep, go ahead.
It's pretty much the same. Yeah, I think the PCA says he was in the area. Most of the times he was in the area, it was in those odd late hours, right? Late night, early morning. Yeah, I don't see any reason to believe he'd been in the house before.
Sure.
Possibly out back though, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that vantage point, we really looked at it. So it is definitely a possibility. Simba's asking question, Brian, if you like the Misfit, you also like Bad Religion or Sisters of Mercy. Bad Religion, I'm very familiar with. I've listened to them for many, many years. Sisters of Mercy, haven't heard much of them, but yeah, I mean, Misfits all the way. I mean, that's my band. So, and actually, I'm very, very excited, by the way. You all don't know this, but maybe some of the Misfit followers or Danzig followers, I'm actually going to see Danzig for the first time in September. I just got tickets. I'm going with my friend. He's playing his first album in its entirety, and I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. Wow. It is one of the most anybody needs to listen to an amazing rock album that just sounds like it's from the 80s, but sounds like it's from the 70s. Absolutely. Throw that on. If you like Black Sabbath, you will love the first Danzig album. It's so great and so clean, and it's one of the most underappreciated rock albums of all time, hands down.
Mother, Twisted King, Possession.
Yes.
Oh, I saw him a few years ago, actually.
Yeah. You did?
Yeah. I listened to him in high school also. He's a huge fan.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So Alexandra's asking a question. Sorry for the gross question. Does anybody know how many times the victims were stabbed? We don't.
No.
We don't. And unfortunately, we're going to have to hear probably a lot of that during the testimony. Let me see if anybody else has any questions. If you want questions, just put a Q, drop your question, and then we'll pull it up. Okay, so Low 12 is asking, do you think BK had been in the house before when the roommates didn't know and bugged the house? That's very interesting. Knowing that we knew that he allegedly set up a security camera in his woman friend's apartment, do we think this could be a possibility that maybe he snuck into King Road and put some type of equipment in that? It's a great question.
100% a possibility.
Sure.
Agreed. He could have.
Yeah. AZ?
I mean, he could have, but I don't think he did.
Okay.
I mean,
it's a possibility. We really don't.
Sure. Yeah.
That also goes back. I'm sorry.
Yep.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
That also brought me to the question: why do they have the certified Blue Ridge knives? Also, because on their website they sell all trail cams, fishing equipment, knives, all that stuff. So he could have done some covert operate stuff outside this house that we don't know of.
Right.
I don't think that it was an elaborate plan. You know, I don't think it was planned as well as one might think. You know, I think there was an element of spontaneity to it.
Very, very respectful.
That's just, you know.
Go ahead.
Something that was mentioned in the interview with the Chronicles of Olivia Stevenson, Olivia Gonsalves, the sister of Kaylee, said, what could they have done better other than to put nanny cams in their house? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just what I thought of. Yeah.
And you know, the funny thing about that too, and I kind of want to chime in on that before we get to Iron Crotch Kung Fu Masters question.
Statement.
Oh man, I love the names. The names are just great. I thought it was just very interesting that they kept saying in that I keep saying it's a documentary. It's more of an interview, but they said they did everything right that night. You know, they were using the buddy system. They used the driver that we vetted. You know, what else could they have, not done? And that leads me to believe that they knew a lot what was going on Kaylee's phone, the conversations they were having. Maybe she said to a friend, like, hey, we're going to grab a ride. We're on our way home. I'm with Maddie, blah, blah, blah. I'm just speculating. I don't know. But I would assume maybe some of that conversation was going on, but we don't know. So Iron Crotch Kung Fu Master is asking question, more of a statement. People are often in a rush to talk in a educated manner about things they know nothing about. Okay, very true. Very, very, very true. Okay.
I like taking my time when I talk about things I don't know about. You know, stretch it out, make it last.
Yeah. And I mumble so you guys can't hear me.
So Unsolved Case in News says, yes, that's correct. These women in UK. I do think it's Coburger, but I'm curious why no one heard if there were two in the house. Wait, hang on. Sorry. Let me back this up. I do think it's Coburger, but I'm curious why no one heard if there were two in the house that were alive. What are your thoughts on this? Am I reading that right?
So it's basically, why didn't the two roommates hear?
Okay.
That's $1 million question.
That's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Why didn't they hear? And if they did hear, why didn't they call?
And if they did hear, maybe they were texting each other saying, hey, did you hear this? Did you hear this? One of them says, no, go to sleep. And that's it.
Yeah.
Were they scared or did they dismiss it?
We tend to believe, and Laura and I had the stream about this, and it's in the PCA. They talked, I think it was Payne said, said in his PCA that the downloads of Dylan and Bethany's phones leads us to believe that the timeline is between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. And it's funny because we were actually chatting and I went, oh my God. And we both said it at the same time. They were texting, they were communicating. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what opened up the whole stream that we did about Xana and the attack on Xana and Ethan and what we thought about that. So we believe they were texting. I'm not saying for sure, but just through the PCA and the information that we have, we think there was some communication going on. And they probably were reaching out to the roommates, probably saying, hey, what's going on? What's that news? Or can you quiet down? You're being loud, something. Again, we're just all alleging this as well, but it would be probably normal conversation at that time of night if something was loud and not familiar going on. So
did you hear Steve's wife in the interview? Steve Gonsalves' wife, I can't remember her name. Christy, yes. Christy. She said, I think it was quick, I think it was quiet, and I think he was in and out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's see. Ron Jones is asking, she said something about like the boogeyman comes at night. That's when the boogeyman comes, kind of like a Freddy Krueger type of thing. I do remember that. Ron Jones asks if it's true If it's true that they are not using the sheath DNA, what can you deduce?
Yep.
What can you deduce from that? Anybody want to take that one?
I think they are using the sheath DNA, right? Isn't it the DNA info that they're not using is the ancestry website links, right? The informant.
That's what I gather. The relative that whole thing is what they don't want to use.
Right. They never said they're not using the sheath DNA. I don't believe that's not how I read it. I'm not a lawyer, obviously, I'm just a guy, but
I mean, I heard rumors that they're not using the sheath DNA, but I don't see any documents stating that.
Right. Yeah, I can only equate that to the information that they're not using so the defense requested the names of the people in the ancestry websites that they were able to allegedly build an ancestral tree, right? But they didn't use that information because they ended up getting his father's DNA from the trash.
Right.
But defense wanted those names, the genetic informants. They're labeled, right? That's the term for them. And prosecution is saying we're not using those people, so no, we're not going to give you those people's names. They have nothing to do with it at this point.
Correct.
That's the way. That's
where I feel like the defense wanted that information to maybe grasp some straws and say, well, no, like you have all these other people that could be implied in this crime.
That's a great point.
I think they would use use that evidence for. Tsunami, we kind of answered this a couple of questions ago, but I appreciate it. Let's see. One of my channel mods, awesome channel mod, by the way. Let's see. Vicky D's asked, could their house possibly had a hidden camera placed so we could watch and study them? Yeah, we kind of answered that, but I will not let you know this. If you haven't seen, and I'm sure everybody has, in the Chronicles of Livia video, and we kind of found this information out, the ring cam, Christy actually saw the video of Kaylee and Maddie pulling up that evening, getting out of the car and going into the house. I'm going to tell you this. There's probably a lot more other things that happen on that video that they're going to see. I'm not saying that they're seeing someone run out of the house or anything like that, but I'm sure that they saw, the timeline of, as we know, that the delay in the 911 call, what happened in between that, if that camera was running. So I'm sure that they have a pretty good idea of what happened in between all of that as well, too. So, and again, I'm just alleging that, and I'm just saying that, it could be a possibility that they do know that. Let's see. Do you think that the house had a camera? I agree. Let's see. Pamela's asking, do you know what was in the fire stick? We do not know. We do not know that information yet. Yeah. And then another question coming, was Bethany dating Brian? No, we don't think so. I think we've talked about that. Giovanna's asking, is it possible allegedly BK used more than one knife to unlive the victims? I mean, it's a possibility. We only know about the one single knife sheath at this point. We feel that it's probably just one weapon. If you haven't seen my stream, I actually had a K-bar knife. I know a couple of people here own a K-bar as well. It's a pretty nasty knife in the sense of what it's used for. It's a military knife. It's definitely meant to kill. It's not going to take a lot of force. It's a pretty damn sharp knife, and it's a different perspective when you have one in your hand, and that's why I got one, because I wanted to see what it felt like in the hand. It's very heavy, has a very blunt end of the knife. That leather handle gives you really good grip strength, and it's sharp as hell, and it wouldn't take much force. And I know this sounds bad and disgusting to plunge it into a victim. It would not take much.
Hey, Brian, there has been talk of different types of wounds. Like there was two weapons. That knife has two weapons on it.
Mm-hmm.
On the pommel end, on the hilt, I mean, that's
Yep.
like a hammer.
Right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
the butt of the knife. Yep. Yep. And then you have the blade itself, and you could actually probably use where the blade connects to the handle as well too. You have kind of spiking that, you know, that, what is it?
A handguard.
That kind of rep in between this area in your hand so the knife doesn't slip, you know, when you're doing damage.
100%.
Some of the stories that came out said about the gouges. That some of the victims were gouged. So
tears. Some people are saying
right.
Yeah. So I mean, a K-bar knife would be conclusive with with that.
And if you hit it with the butt end, you know, that's not going to make a slice.
Right. It's 12 gauge.
It'd be like
carbon steel.
So Bitchy Bookworm says, this is such a great and informative stream with a great panel, one of the best channels on Idaho 4. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
Thank you, Bitchy Bookworm.
Thank you.
Do you guys up for just a couple more questions before we wrap this in a couple minutes?
Go ahead.
Sure.
What do we got?
So
Yep.
Jessica,
Fire away.
great. The questions are great. Jessica says, why do you think he had gloves and was separating his trash? I would say I think it's pretty obvious. I'm going to tell you this. I don't separate my trash with gloves, and I'm not alleged in murdering 4 individuals. So you can kind of connect the dots there. I think that kind of activity is a little weird. You know, I don't think it's something certainly that an everyday person would do. So that's kind of my answer on that. If anybody wants to chime in, please do.
I mean, there's no logical reason in my freaking damn mind that anyone would be separating the trash early in the morning wearing gloves on a kitchen table with, you know, shit spread across the, you know, table like a, you know, smorgasbord of inventory. It don't make sense to me. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Is that confirmed anywhere, or is that kind of okay? Yeah.
Yeah, it's confirmed. Yeah. I think it's stated in a document, and I think there's information about it in the Pennsylvania. I think they said they spotted him separating his trash.
Well, I mean the gloves. I just mean the gloves.
Oh, the gloves. Him wearing gloves?
Yeah.
When they arrested him, they found him inside his house.
I know they found gloves, but as far as him separating trash wearing gloves
they arrested the day they arrested him. He was wearing gloves and he was separating his trash in the kitchen, standing in his boxer shorts.
Mm-hmm.
That's been reported.
But is it in the documents anywhere?
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think the boxer shorts are mentioned, but wearing gloves separating trash.
We'll get back to that offline.
We'll find it. Yeah.
We'll confirm that. The Richard's asking, I'm a movie lover, Twisted Films. What are the few of your favorite serial killer or sleazy media similar to films like American Psycho, Nightcrawler that come to mind?
Love the Richard.
American Psycho, great movie.
It's a good movie.
What's up, Richard?
One of mine would be Seven. That's a really great movie with Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and ultimately, in the end, the murderer was the serial killer was, and his name has slipped my mind. Shit, what's his name? Hang on, I gotta Google this now because it's gonna annoy me. Kevin Spacey. Thank you, Kevin Spacey.
That's what I was gonna say.
A really great movie, and it's eerily creepy, and it's very similar to what happened in this is Jeff Bridges in a great movie called Jagged Edge. If you watch the beginning of that movie, holy smokes, very reminiscent of what happened at King Road. I like movies like that. Anybody else?
I'm gonna go with Hitchcock's Psycho.
Yep.
Hitchcock movies. I like how it's not obvious. It's not so graphic. I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan as well. But I do like the Scream series.
Yep. Oh, it's great.
And yeah, Scream is definitely one. I love a good whodunit. You give me a good whodunit. The Agatha Christie movies that just came out recently too. The Murder on the Orient Express, and there was another one.
Great. Monster's a great movie.
Mhm.
A Natural Born Killers is great.
Woody Harrelson.
That's
Fargo.
a good one.
I know that's not a serial killer movie, but Fargo's fucking great.
Oh, Fargo is great.
Oh, great. Yeah. What the Christ? You darn tootin'. I love that. He's like, what the Christ? All right, let's do a couple more questions. We're going to end this one up. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us this evening. Again, this is the first time we've done kind of a panel like this. I hope everybody's enjoying the panel and the content. I know I am. It's like one of the greatest streams that we've had so far here, and having a lot of fun. And it's really great to see everybody, all these new subscribers on the channel. And again, just take a moment, smash that like button. We really would appreciate it.
Smash, smash, smash.
So let's answer a few more of these questions, and we're going to wrap this one up. Soulshine is asking, I wonder what the evidence is that Bethany has that could exonerate Kay. Anybody want to take this one, a stab at it?
I don't think she has anything. I think it was a grasp at straws. It was an intimidation tactic.
Yeah.
I think it was too. 100%.
They had nothing.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me go down here. Bobby's asking, do you think BK's question has anyone else been arrested was a ruse to deflect attention and make police think that there was someone else involved they needed to be looking for? Yes. 100%. He's not stupid. 100%. What do you think?
No. I think no. I think his very, very, very first instinct was, oh my God, I know I did this. I wonder if they arrested my family members, my father. I want to know.
Okay.
Because I'm in trouble.
Sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. AZ, want to take a hit at this one? Or
I try to put myself in that position that he would have been in. And he was probably nervous and stressed, and I don't put much meaning into that, if he even said it at all. I mean, I don't know if that's been confirmed. It's reasonable that he would say something like that, but I think it was, the whole thing was fresh, and now it's months later, and like Chosen is saying, he knows they have a lot of evidence.
Right.
I just don't put those words. I don't think it meant much.
Yeah.
Just kind of a throw, you know what I mean? Just kind of something he probably said a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to know what he said as soon as he was arrested, like within those 17 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be curious to see
what happened.
Let's grab this one. We'll do maybe one or two more, and then we'll get out of here and end this tonight. So Spiritual Healer 507 is asking, brand new to the channel today, hit liked and subscribe. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. My question is, does anyone know who identified the bodies? As a parent, I can't even imagine seeing my son in that position. I would die. Yeah, absolutely. I would assume that it's obviously it's going to be family member. We probably assume if you're talking maybe the Gonzalez family, I would think maybe Steve being the stronger one in that, being with Christy, and being that emotional support, I would think is probably most likely Steve and Christy for Kaylee. That's probably all I really have for that. I mean, I think probably everybody else agrees here. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Xana was identified from her ID. That's in the PCA.
Know that. Yep.
I believe that Ethan's best friend is the one that said, well, that's Ethan Chapin. So I believe that his best friend Hunter is the one that basically said, that. Now the official identification, I would assume the family, but I think at one point they would have had IDs and they would have been able to discern that. I agree with you with the Gonsalves though. And I believe Maddie's mom, Karen, what's her first name's Karen. She is the one I believe that went down to Moscow and was called And she went down, and so she probably had to ID Maddie's body.
Sure. And then we're gonna pull this, and I got one more, and then we're end up the stream was getting about an hour and a half. So Just Amber said, didn't Gacy say something similar when he was arrested? I don't know. He might have. Let me see.
Yeah, I know someone said it.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that kind of just like saying I didn't do it? You know, I mean, you got the wrong guy.
Sure.
Basically,
So,
right?
Yeah. I agree.
Kind of a desperate,
Yeah.
last desperate attempt.
That's it.
Let's see. So let's end on this one. So Blue Flame says, remember, Brian is innocent until proven guilty. Unfortunately, it's backwards in this case. He has been guilty by the court of public opinion. I think there's some truth to that, but I think that we've been very open on how we feel. I think we've said on every stream that I've ever done on this channel that he is innocent until proven guilty. I think we've made that point here. I think on a lot of other channels, the way that they talk about this case is that they've already convicted. But I have to say this, and this is my opinion, reading the documents, knowing what's going on, and I'm going to do this for everybody. Please take a moment, instead of just reading a title, and going, aha, that's what, it's a conspiracy. Take a moment, read these documents through. It'll give you a clearer picture of what's going on, in my opinion. That's really all I have to really say about it. I think the evidence is strong against Kohberger, unless we get to court and we find there's other angles or other people involved. But I say this again, if that is possible, if it is more people involved, if there is a cartel that coordinated this whole thing, why has no one else been arrested? It's not a cover-up. It's not a scam. It's none of that. We would have heard about it now. Everybody's talking in this case behind the scenes. Believe me, there's court clerks talking. There's probably people being paid off to give information. That shit happens. It happens in the media. Believe me. And I think if this gag order gets released, you're going to hear a lot of stuff. I think a lot of stuff. So I don't know if any of you want to, we'll do this. We'll roundtable really quick before we end. Give everybody maybe a minute. Laura, anything you want to end on or get your point out before we close up the stream?
I'm thrilled that we were able to have more of our true crime community here tonight and go public with this. And I hope to do it again. That's all I got.
Absolutely. Chosen, any quick 30 seconds to a minute, anything you want to say or end with?
Yeah, sure. I'll say this real fast. Thank you so much for everyone that watched the stream tonight. I appreciate it. Everyone in the chat, thank you for interacting with us tonight. Much love goes out to all the victims, families, and friends in this case. And like you said, this is the most important note right here. And, I'm going to say it. We have to remember these families' lives have been changed forever. And for the rest of their lives, we have to be respectful in the way we talk about the case and not victimize these families. We can go on living our lives, sleuthing case to case and whatnot, but it's imperative that we keep in mind that many people's lives were changed forever, on November 13th. They'll never be the same. It's a traumatic experience. And this is a sensitive topic for discussion, and everyone has their opinions and views, which we can respect, but, there's a line to keep in mind that, not to disrespect anybody.
Right.
So, tonight, go home, hug your loved ones, tuck your kids into bed, and,
Yeah, tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. AZ, anything you want to finish or say?
I agree with Chosen 100%. Our hearts go out to the families, and I couldn't say it any better. So I'll just use his words as my own. And I'd like to take the opportunity to say we have some of the greatest people in our chat on a regular basis, just wonderful people. And so I'd like to thank them for being cool, because they always are. And Thank you, Laura and Chosen. Thank you, Brian, for having me on.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank, before I end here, I want to thank everybody on this panel this evening. I'm getting to know you all in a very close way, and you all mean a lot to me in my life. And if I'm going to be honest with you, if Laura and I didn't connect, I wouldn't be here on this panel, and I wouldn't have these mods that are here, and I wouldn't have the people that come to this channel, the members. These are people that are in the background that ultimately support what I do here. So I thank every single one here, and I thank everybody in this chat and the people that contribute to this channel in whatever way, chatting or memberships or super chats. It's not about the money for me. I want to be very clear. I'm looking into the camera. I don't fucking care about money. All I care about is giving good, relevant, solid information and making sure that there's justice in these cases that we talk about. And there's going to be a lot of other topics and conversations that we do on this channel. We keep things straight and we use the facts. If you're looking for conspiracy, if you're looking for bullshit, you're just not going to get this on this channel. And I would probably urge you to unsubscribe. But I want to thank everybody here again on this panel. Thank you so much for being the people that you are. You're all very important in my lives. And this channel is very important to me. I pour my heart and soul into it. And you all, I can't say thank you enough. So everybody, all the new subscribers, all the new members, thank you so much. We'll get another show together for you guys all soon. The chat is like blowing up and gleaming right now. I love it. So I just want to give a round of applause to everybody before we go off air tonight. So thank you. And we'll be all back soon. I'm going to hit the outro again. Agent Chase, Chosen, AZ, thank you so much. Thanks to my moderators for sticking through. I hope that you loved the show tonight, and I'd love to have all you guys back. We're going to be back soon. Stay tuned. I'll have another tile up soon. We'll do another live. Everybody have a great night. Take care. And like Chosen was saying, go home and hug someone tonight. Hug a loved one, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. But we'll be back. I'm Brian. Let's Talk Live podcast. I'll see you all soon. Take care.